Here's a question on AskAvan.com that somebody posted regarding a function called timeAdder that is supposed to add up 2 times. The format of the 2 times are in value and label format. So there's a value, a number, and a label, a string, and then the same thing for the second time value and label. So the function takes in 4 arguments total, and it's supposed to return like a tuple or object that adds those 2 times together and returns it in a value label format. So, for example, if you add up 23 hours and 60 minutes, it should probably return 1 day, right? So here's the description of the assignment. Relatively straightforward. They want you to use a switch statement, and it should not work with invalid arguments. So, for example, if somebody calls on timeAdder with the arguments 5 and the label for that, the label 1 being hour and 5 minutes, that should be considered incorrect because it's not 5 hour, it's 5 hours plural. Okay, so here's what I did to solve it. I wrote this on PlayCode online. It's an online editor. Here's my function, timeAdder. Here are the 4 values. So I created these helper arrays that store like the values, right? Like seconds, minutes, hours, and days. And I called that array labels plural. They represent the plural form of the labels. And then I created one for the singular form. So second, minute, hour, and day. Then I also created a third constant that's an array, and that just stores how many seconds each one holds. So 1 second holds 1 second, 1 minute holds 60 seconds, 1 hour holds 3,600 seconds, and so on. So this comes in handy as I try to solve this problem. Then the next step is what I decided to do is, and you don't have to do it this way. There's I'm sure there's plenty of ways to solve this, but I decided to just convert both values, value 1 and value 2, to seconds and then add them. So everything is in seconds. And here's my logic for it. I created these 2 variables called value 1 seconds and value 2 seconds. Then I determined if either one of them is a singular value, right? Is it just one of anything? If it is, then I know the label. I use a different. Let me see if either one of them is a singular value, so whether 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 whatever, 1 day, then I'm trying to get the index of trying to get the index of that value and use that to get how many seconds are in that particular value. So if somebody has 1 hour, for example, like let's say they provided 1 hour for one of the, let's say for value 1, so value 1 is 1, label 1 is hour, then I call on index of on the singular one, and I should get 0, 1, 2, right? I should get the index 2 because that's where the hour is. And then I use that index to get this value right here. That's the goal, to get 3,600. And that's how I determined how many seconds I have. How many seconds value 1 that is. And then if it's not singular, it's plural, that I do the same thing, except for this time I have to multiply the value, whatever it is, times the value. So if somebody has 3 hours instead of 1 hour, then it's 3 times 3,600, right? So that should give me the number of seconds for value 1. So I do the same thing for value 2. So this is how I convert them to seconds. Once they have been converted to seconds, I move on and I add them together. So value 1 seconds plus value 2 seconds equals total seconds, right? So now I have the answer in total seconds, but that we don't really want to return it in seconds if it doesn't have to be returned in seconds. What if it's 3 days? What if the answer is 3 days? Then we don't want 3 days to be to be returned in seconds. We want to return it in days. So this is where this part comes in, determining basically the final value and label, which is the thing that we're going to return it in. What is the final label of what we're going to return? Is it days? Is it minutes? Is it minute? Whatever it is, we need to determine those. So this is what I did. I used a switch statement here, and I'm switching on total seconds. So if total seconds is an even, let me see. If total seconds is exactly either 1, 60, or 3,600, or 86,400, one of those 4 values, if it's exactly even, then that means I have a singular value. So the value is going to be 1, and the label is going to be whatever the... So in this case, the value is 1 second. In this case, it's 1 minute. Then in this case, it's 1 hour, and so on, in 1 day. If it's not a singular value, if the final result is not a singular value, it's not 1 day, 1 minute, 1 second, whatever, then it must be obviously a plural. So that's where this, and that gets determined right here in the default block. And here in the default block, what I did is I just went from days backwards, and I was like, okay, are the total seconds greater than the number of seconds in a day? Yeah. And when you mod the total seconds by the how many seconds are in a day, if that equals 0, meaning it fits evenly, there's an even number of days, then we know the final result is going to be in days. Right? So I determined the final label here, and it's going to be days, and the value is just total seconds divided by the number of seconds in a day. Then I check, okay, then I have an else if, not just an if, but an else if. So only one of these will run, not all of them. Then I'm checking, okay, is total seconds greater than the number of seconds in hours? And if it is, then I'm making sure that it's evenly divisible. And if it is, then I know I have a certain number of hours to return, and then so on, and then minutes, and then seconds. And finally, and then the last block right here is going to be seconds. So if none of those are true, if none of those conditions apply to any given scenario, then it must be seconds. Then I just return the answer in seconds. So here's an example. So, and then finally I return an object with the key value 3, which contains the final value, and a label 3 key that contains the final label. And here's an example. So if I do 3,600 seconds and add 60 minutes to it, I get exactly 2 hours. Which is perfect. So it did it correctly, because 60 minutes is 1 hour and 3,600 seconds is another hour, and together they're 2 hours. So if I change this even by 1 second, right, I should not get hours anymore. I should get the results in seconds. So if I do this and there it is. It's 7,201 seconds. Does that make sense? And then what if I change this to let me see. What if I change this to 3660? That is 121 minutes. So it didn't return it in seconds, and it didn't return it in days, because minutes make sense in this particular case. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, if any of this stuff is unclear. If it's the person who reached out to me and asked the question, feel free to respond on AskAvan, the original, through the original post. Reply to the original post, yeah, if anything is not clear, I would love to help. I'm probably not going to share this play code. I would like you. I'm not going to. I'm trying to avoid giving away the code. It's better that you watch this video and try to replicate what I did. Try to just implement it yourself, given what I just showed you. All right, that's it. Take care.